now. Hello, welcome to the YouTube interview, the effects of COVID-19 virus on the arts and beyond. My name is Brian Murphy, and we have a special guest today, Kara Stewart. She is the executive and founder of ArtSparks, and also, she's pretty busy, she's also the manager of the Dance Institute at the University of Akron. Kara, welcome.
Thank you, Brian.
Yes, so glad you're here today. And I wanted to ask you first, here we are about 3 weeks into this situation. When all this was coming to fruition that this was happening, how did you feel? What was going in your mind when you started hearing things starting to close down and you realized this was going to affect really two major things to do with kids?
Right. Right. Well, as the director of both of those programs, the first thing that I thought of course, was the kids and how are we going to maintain programming if this actually happens? I think we found ways to do that, but that's been a challenge. It certainly has been a challenge. It's been interesting to see what other people are doing and trying to fit programming into our framework, and in both ways, because in one situation we're in a studio, Dance Institute is very much a dance studio, and yet ArtSparks is an outreach program, and so we're going into the public schools.
How did you so you had to communicate with both organizations. You had to go, okay, how am I going to communicate with the ArtSparks? So give me, maybe on the lighter side of this right now, maybe a little explanation of what ArtSparks is, and then maybe after kind of explain, how did you explain to them this is what you're going to be doing?
Sure. So ArtSparks is an outreach program, and we bring dance and music into the public schools. We have programs that range from our Ready Spark kindergarten program, which is a pre-K program. We're in every Akron public school, preschool, to our K-5 program. And we serve Cuyahoga Falls and Akron. We have a very special program in Akron called our Dynamite Duos program. Nice. That pairs students with developmental disabilities with their same aged peers. And we had just had their performance for the end of the year when all of this happened. But we hadn't yet had our Cuyahoga Falls performance. And in that performance, we have 400 third graders who are going to be on stage.
That's a lot, Kara. Yes.
And they were slated to be on stage the week that the schools closed. So that required a lot of conversation, a lot of communication, obviously. We were not back in the schools that week, so we did not get to see our students face to face, which was terribly disappointing for our teachers and I know our students. So most of our communication happened with our in-school coordinators, teachers, and administrators.
Okay. Well, when it comes to ArtSparks, and that's a lot of people involved. It's a lot of kids affected. I get this feeling we all understand the scenario, so people forgive whatever it needs to be said. But it does take a leader to be able to communicate this. But leaders usually take on the burden. Do you feel like how have you dealt with that burden? And what are the things that you've done to you create this burden? You get this burden. How do you move forward with that and communicate with the kids that things are going to be okay and we're going to continue on?
Yeah. So I'm very fortunate in both situations. At the Dance Institute, I have an assistant manager, Leslie Del Prince, who has been phenomenal in terms of communicating with parents and with students. She's just been essential in terms of helping us stay connected in that way. And at ArtSparks, our artistic director and daily managing director, Erica Piper and Shauna Konzman, have been doing the same sort of things. And they're putting out such positive content and being able to reach out to the kids via our YouTube channel and social media platforms. So you talk about, bearing a burden, and sure, I mean, there's work to be done here, but I'm so fortunate because I do have incredible staff who have stepped up in amazing ways to help with that.
I love that. And the first thing I was thought about was teamwork.
Sure.
Bottom line, a good organization has a good team, and when something like this happens, you're going to get through it, Right. So let's talk about a little bit more about the programming you have for the kids now. So, for the Dance Institute, how have you done online things? Do you have your instructors do the Zoom type of thing? How is it that you're progressing forward for these kids?
Right. So we're using a number of ways to reach them. We've designed a web portal on our website so that teachers can upload videos and even assignments for students to help them research ballets and be able to delve further into their technique while they can't exactly be doing pirouettes in a studio. We're also using Zoom to do some classes. So we'll be doing some tap classes, some stretching classes, ballet bar. Certainly our modern teacher is doing a modern class once a week. So we do have some classes in which we're interacting sort of as directly as we can with the students right now. And then many of our teachers are sending out videos every week to their particular classes because they've chosen to do it in that format, especially with the little ones who are home. So we're making it work.
I love that. And, let me ask you, because are you doing your videos yourself? Do you do them yourself too? Are
Yes.
you on video? Okay, so tell me the one thing you like about it.
Oh, good question. I'm a fan of in-person instruction.
Of course, we all are. But what do you like about this scenario? What do you like about it?
Well, I suppose it's not a terrible thing to be in my home and being able to schedule it when I want to schedule it.
True. Okay, there you go.
There's some
of course,
flexibility.
There's flexibility in scheduling. So we could talk about, I think that there's a new reality here, right? Mm-hmm. So this will end. It's going to end. Even when it ends, how we move on from this will be a challenge. So I know this is, a couple months away, and I'm going to ask you, how do you see yourself moving on beyond this situation?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the goal is obviously to get back to sort of business as usual and go back to our studios and our classrooms and be able to really provide what we were providing previously. I don't know that there will be a, tough transition there in terms of getting back with our students. I feel as if that will be a natural transition, to go back. I think everybody will be ready and willing, obviously, to go back to what we were doing.
So if I agree, actually, and dancers are hardy and dancers are resilient, yep. And we are trained to be that way. Bottom line. But all this work that you're doing the next couple of months, where does it go? Does it, okay, it's over here now, we'll get back to it later. Are you going to continue doing that? Is that something that you see being part of your curriculum?
So that's interesting. Some of the things that I've been thinking about are extension activities, sort of take-home activities for students, especially in our outreach program where, students, we say goodbye to them at the end of the school year and they go off for the summer. And, once you've graduated from ArtSparks, unless you become part of our after-school program, you've graduated. So it would be interesting to think about those students being able to access material, those students who have really loved their experience and wanted to be able to continue to dance. They could access our material online.
And you become an expert. we become experts on how to do that, right? So right. The last question is, I'm asking you personally, how this has affected you personally, and how are you dealing with it now, and how do you see this in the future for you? What is it? How are you dealing with this?
Yeah. So, there have been challenges for sure. You want to sort of as a leader of an organization be able to be with the people that you need to be with when you need to be with them. And so, scheduling has been challenging, and not being able to have personal interaction with staff, but also in the classroom. Being a teacher myself, it's been really difficult, I will say. It just feels so strange not to be walking into a ballet room, ballet studio,
I'm with you, yes.
I know you get that,
yes.
So I'm missing that terribly on a personal level, and being able to interact with coworkers and staff. I think that facing the challenges of what does it mean to be a business person on that end is a whole other set of challenges, and certainly this situation has, nobody has is going to get out of this unscathed in terms of, financial issues. And so that's a whole other area in which I'm still, still working on figuring that out.
Yes, and that's where, but though, because of your resilience and because you have a team of people,
right?
That we're not alone in this.
Right. And I feel like I have such great support. I mean, the university has been phenomenal in terms of supporting our staff and being sure that everybody is still being paid and, feeling supported in any way they need to be supported. And with ArtSparks, our foundations and our patrons have just really stepped up and allowed us to take this time to do what we need to do, without a cut in funding. So again, I feel very, very blessed. In so many ways. And I know that we will face those challenges as they come, and we still don't know how long this will last. So we'll see.
On that note, I think that the note that all the things that you were just talking about, people just are sticking together, from funders to staff to organizations, dancers, leaders. That is the beauty of what's happening. If there's any beauty in this. Yeah. And we may have taken that for granted, but here we are seeing it in action. Right. So, but I will say though, Kara, it's leaders like you that create those scenarios, and that people say, okay, this is who's the leader. I believe in her. I believe in what you've done. So I'm going to stick around, or I'm going to do this, or I'm excited, or even if you did a video and things fell over, it doesn't matter. They forgive because they know in your heart that you care.
Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.
So I really do appreciate you. This is Kara Stewart. She is the executive and founder of ArtSparks and the manager of Dance Institute at the University of Akron.
Right.
Thank you very much for doing this with me, and your story is valuable. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.